Sum and substance, Israel is a democracy for the Jewish people of Israel, for everyone, and it's a democracy that is in crisis at this moment, even for the Jewish people, with respect to free expression and questions
You folks have been sitting here a long time, so I'm going to talk very briefly, very quickly. I'm from New York, so actually I can make good on that. What I want to do is just quickly talk about 2 points. One, I'm going to call the illusion of symmetry. Right? Now, you've heard a lot about Arab populations here, and there are actually 3 distinct ones that we need to know about. One is the Arab-Palestinian population of Israel, which was just talked about. Then there is the Palestinian population in the occupied territories, right? In the West Bank, right? And on the Gaza Strip, right? Which is not technically occupied, but is surrounded and in effect occupied, right? Then there is the wider Arab population, right? In surrounding states. Dr. Ed talked a good bit about that, right? And I want to confine my brief remarks to the second group, right? The occupied Palestinians in the West Bank and the nominally not but actually occupied Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Right? The illusion of symmetry is the illusion, right, that both sides are equal, both sides have an equal, in some sense, both sides feel pain equally, both sides have an equal claim. Right? What needs to be borne in mind, right, and the conflict will not be understood unless it is that one side is occupying the other side. There is a set of occupiers, and there is an occupied population. Right? That occupied population has, since 1967, been subject to a number of human rights abuses, violations of international law. We could go on about this itself for a long time. Israel has moved its population into those territories. It has moved Palestinian population out of those territories. It has utilized the resources of that part. All these things are against international law, right? And the reason it is sustained is because the occupiers continue to occupy, right, the land of those who occupy, right? And so as long as we stay with the illusion of symmetry about the Palestinians, we will not understand the conflict. The question is then what to do about it. Okay? There are a number of debates and discussions about what should be done. Right? Let me mention this. The U.S. gives Israel the last year was about $2.5 billion in direct aid, most of that military, some of that economic, $1.4 billion in loan guarantees. That's to say, if there's loans given to Israel, if they don't pay them back, the U.S. doesn't worry terribly much about it. That's about, on the average, $500 per Israeli citizen. If that aid were to be reduced, we could have an argument about how far. My argument would be that it should be completely. If that aid were to be reduced, that would put some pressure on Israel and send a strong message. Right? But what can you do to promote that? Well, you can write to Congresspeople. Congresspeople at this point in our history are not terribly sympathetic to the Palestinian population. There are other things going on. Right? Let me refer then finally, briefly, from New York, briefly to the divestment. When in South Africa, toward the end of apartheid, there was a movement to withdraw investments. Right? It's a nonviolent movement to withdraw investments in South Africa. Right? There is a movement afoot to do much the same thing with Israel, to remove investments in Israel, and it's happening particularly, and this is what would be relevant for us here, in terms of an academic boycott. Right? The idea is for nonviolent, non-cooperation with Israeli academics. Right? I've been asked to cooperate in philosophy on a couple of journals with Israeli academics. I've refused. The boycott is a way of showing that one does not approve, will not cooperate with the regime, right, that is occupying another people. Right? Now we can have, again, discussion and debate about this, but this, I think, for folks here, is one of the most relevant of activities that is going on because it happens at the academic level. Right? And you may have heard some about it. You will probably hear increasingly about this in Britain. There is actually a fairly large academic boycott going on. There's increasing call for an academic boycott here. One of the reasons I like the idea of an academic boycott is that it is nonviolent. But in any case, we can talk about that more later, and I will pass to the next speaker so we can have a discussion as well.
Mr. Mathis is here.
Okay,